The Gophers Cup to start the episode?
Nice little Waters cheer to the bowl game champion, Golden Gophers.
The Quick Lane Bowl champion.
The Quick Lane Bowl. I didn't even remember the name of it. Bowl. Let's go.
What was that? 7 straight bowl wins for the Gulfs or something?
Yeah. And on another trophy of mediocrity, let's hear from Jack.
Spinny, man, I'm covering it with my big head right now. Who do we got for number 84? You obviously should know this answer.
Get your 84 jerseys out, baby. Come on, the boy. The second best wide receiver to ever touch an NFL football.
The best receiver to ever play in the NFL. Let's go.
Come on.
You know, if he had Steve Young and Joe Montana, he could have been putting up numbers like that. He could have.
Okay, but he didn't.
He didn't.
So he is second, sadly.
The Randy Moss episode, Spinny, to start it off, I'm going to give our listeners a quick fantasy update.
Ooh.
You're going to love this. Hearties and Hardos. This man, Spinny, got last in our football league. Punishment incoming for him. Remember, way back when on our video we posted, our live draft, we agreed on a punishment for the last place loser, which will be agreed upon by the league mates. So we'll see what Spinny has to do, but he has to do it live on the pod. So be looking out for that on these next couple episodes. I can't wait for what we vote.
10% chance. 10% chance, and it had to be me. Had to be.
Yep.
Sick. Love you, fantasy gods.
In the basketball league, no surprise here. I currently lead. I'm 8-1. Second is Butsy. Joe Butsy with 6-3. Last place is Buck, who was voted last by a lot of people. He's 2-7. So his season's kind of going how everyone thought it would, at least to start. So that was just a little fancy update. But now, Spinny, let's get into the headlines, man. I think we need to talk about our trips. The main reason we haven't been on here for so freaking long is we both took trips to Florida. So, Spinny, yours was, 2 weeks ago now. Tell me about your trip to Florida. You went to the Final Four for the volleyball. How was that?
It was awesome. It's fun to volleyball is such a small world, really. And so you just see a million people that you just either only see at the convention or you see at like camps or like a bunch of stuff. So it's fun just like seeing everybody throughout the week. You're there on Wednesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Yeah, Saturday too is all like clinics and sessions and stuff from super famous coaches, national team coaches, bunch of, the big D1 head coaches. And there's some D3 coaches that presented. John Ellman, who won National D3 Coach of the Year, who's in our conference coach at Oshkosh. He had a good session. Karsh Karai, the women's national team coach, super successful. He had a big session. That was fun. So a couple of really good ones. Stanford coach Kevin Hamley, shout out to him for a really good session as well.
You better been taking notes.
But yeah, so a bunch of notes, few cool adaptations for our gym that just make things more fun. And so it's always fun to learn from me, get more in depth in the sport and see what people do. So that part was great. Seeing all the friends were great. Enjoying some free food and beverages from volleyball sponsors. Awesome. LOVB, shout out to you for the best little food and drink party all through there. Shout out to you for that.
Hell yeah.
And then the Final Four games. I've been bearing the lead and just seeing a lot of the things that Texas did was super cool. Like just how they use their serving to make basically the teams that had looked the best in the entire country this whole season look like absolute garbage. Wisconsin scored like 13 points one set. Just some crazy serving and back row attacks, and just a lot of stuff that you don't see a lot in the D1 women's game that Texas really pulled out and took advantage of. And you gotta give them credit for everything they did. So, but yeah, that was cool. Sat in like the middle of the lower bowl, so literally like perfect seeing seats.
I tried to find you.
Yeah,
tried to find you.
Did you find no success?
No, I thought I saw you, but it was a little too far away. It was hard to tell. There was, you couldn't make out any faces. But based on what you told me you were wearing and the people around you were wearing, I thought I saw what should have been you. So
let's go.
I guess.
Not that many good matches though, really. A lot of blowout sets and matches that you kind of just knew what was going on.
Was it one of the Final Four 3-0?
Yeah, the championship was 3-0.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Texas 2 straight years of 3-0 in the championship. Yeah, shout out to Texas's libero. That's the last thing I want to shout out about this because she absolutely had one of the most amazing.
Is that the little short girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, that chick was nasty.
Because, like, Nebraska has some dogs. Like, Harper Murray can absolutely hit a ball at ridiculous speed, and she was just absolute dig fest. And also Madison Skinner, obviously player of the tournament. The way she ran the back row attack was absolutely flawless, and it freed up Texas's offense so much, and the amount of one-on-one blocks they got was so incredible. And a lot of that has to do with her and her setters' chemistry and how they can set that big. So shout out to a bunch of awesome volleyball people for an awesome week. So yeah, now it's your turn, boss. Talk for too long.
I mean, you deserved it, man. Final Four, like that's a once in a lifetime type trip right there. So I'm glad you were able to make hella memories from that, which leads into mine. I basically arrived in Florida basically when you were leaving for the most part. I think I arrived Sunday, you left Monday. So we were down there for Bethany basketball. We had a tournament, little winter tournament, hosted at Rollins College by Worcester. It's a weird situation. We played at Rollins College, but Worcester College hosted the tournament. All 4 teams that played in the tournament are from out of state. So we all traveled to Florida. So that was kind of a unique aspect of the tournament. We lost to a really good St. Joseph's team out of Connecticut in our first game. Lost by like 12 or so, 13, something like that. We hung with them the whole game, though. This team that I could be wrong here, but somewhere around 55-2 in their last 2 seasons coming into this year. So extremely good basketball team, one of the top D3 teams in the entire country. We went neck to neck with them all the way to the end, and then they pulled away at the end. We just couldn't get stops towards the end and couldn't get any buckets. That's just kind of how it goes. But we competed with them, so that was good to see. And then we took down Suffolk, or I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. They're out of Massachusetts. We took them down by about 20 or so. That was, again, a close game throughout. And then probably in the last 10 minutes of the game, we really put the foot on the gas and took care of business. And I think we only gave up 4 points in the last 6 minutes of the game, which is insane. Great way to end the game. So overall, basketball wise, it was could have been better trip, but it was definitely could have been worse. So going 1-1, we'll take that against some really good teams out there. And the guys had a ton of fun. I mean, we did a lot of things. One interesting story from the trip is we're sitting there warming up for our game, right? And Austin Rivers just walks into the facility, like NBA Austin Rivers. And I'm like, wait a minute, is that Austin Rivers? And so we're playing in Winter Park, Florida. I was just talking the day before we saw him about how he's from Winter Park. He went to Winter Park High School. And I always watched his Ball's Life mixtapes back in the day and whatnot. So we were just talking about him, and then he just randomly walks in the building. We were so confused. We all like triple taked. We're like, that is Austin Rivers, right? Like, what? So he just came to work out, and then he actually stayed and watched the whole second half, sat in the bleachers by a couple of random guys and watched the whole second half of our game against St. Joseph. So that was awesome. He was kind enough to take pictures and talk to players and fans from both teams after the game. Like, he definitely didn't need to do any of that. Like, he could have just walked in the back door, snuck in, snuck out. No one would have known he was there to even work out. But instead, he went out of his way to make some people's day. So that was awesome to see. And then the other interesting story from the trip is former NBA player Nick Anderson. We went to the Magic game. We were sitting courtside for the Magic shoot-around, which is awesome. Shout out to the Magic for having our team courtside. But Nick Anderson just casually walks up to us and just talks to our team for dead-ass 45 minutes. Like,
That's
just
wild.
telling us the most wildest stories of the NBA, talking about guarding MJ, all the shit talking he heard from MJ back in the day, insane stories from that. Talking about playing with rookie Shaq and how dominant he was and how big of a force. Talking about being teammates with Penny Hardaway, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on and on. He just literally went out of his way and spontaneously talked to our team for 45 minutes. Another situation where he had no reason to do that. Like, he didn't have to do that, but instead he made all of our guys' day, and that's definitely something our guys will remember forever. So shout out to Austin Rivers, and shout out to Nick Anderson. You guys came through. That was awesome to see. It was a great trip. Glad we're back. A lot of us got sick out there, so glad we're back, Minnesota, and
This
healthy.
man getting the Rona in 2023 in Florida.
Strikes again. It strikes again.
Strikes
It really
again.
does.
Wild.
Yeah, it's tough.
All right. What's next on the headlines list, Mr. Bus?
Headlines, more headlines. A lot of these obviously happened within the last 2 weeks. This one's a while ago. Draymond, he smacked Nurkic, got suspended indefinitely. Sounds like 13-ish games it's going to end up being, roughly. I saw somewhere that he's about 5 or so games away from returning. He had a bunch of requirements he had to meet. I don't think any specific details were given out in regards to those, other than he had to go to therapy and do some other anger management, things like that. But Spinny, man, what is this dude's deal? He just gets more and more erratic every season. Like, what is going on with this guy?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I'm glad, he's doing what he needs to do. Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal behavior, I guess. And it's just, that's kind of, yeah, it seems like Draymond's trying to outdo himself on a yearly basis. And as he gets less skilled, it seems to be more often the case of what we're seeing. But Draymond's a great player, Hall of Famer. So I really hope he is doing what he needs to do and he can be back.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it the right way. He needs to get his shit figured out. He really does. This is not a way any NBA player should act, let alone a 4-time champion and future NBA Hall of Famer. That's for damn sure. So hopefully, this therapy and everything he's been doing has been helping him out, and hopefully he can get right off the court, because clearly something off the court is the issue right now. Another headline: Capitals and Wizards moving to Virginia. Apparently, in 2028, they reached a tentative agreement with the governor of Virginia to move them from D.C. down there to Northern Virginia. I don't know exactly where. About a $2 billion plan for new stadiums and stuff. It's kind of weird thinking of a professional sports team in Virginia.
Yeah.
There's no other ones, right? Like, those would be the first two.
Yeah, I guess so. Sorry, Virginia,
What?
those teams if we're missing you, but I don't think so.
Right. Are we talking Virginia Wizards? Like,
no,
are they going to
it'll still
completely
be
rebrand?
Washington Wizards. I mean, we're talking a suburb. I mean, we're not talking that far out from DC, right? So,
But it's still not in Washington. Like, it's not there anymore. So they're just going to keep.
well,
They're going to keep calling them Washington.
I mean, especially because like DC is so small. It's not like a whole state type situation.
Right.
Like, not a state, obviously. So yeah, I don't think this ever works out well, I guess, especially because they don't really do tailgating like they used to. It's all going to be this modern. If you've ever been to Foxborough, it's just Patriot Village. It's just all shop, everything like bars, shops, food, all that stuff is just all. It was built by the team and it's set up like the city type situation. Which to me, it's like then you're just paying overpriced prices for literally everything, the same overpriced prices you'd pay in the stadium. So it's kind of just like, why are we even doing this? Especially during game time. I don't know, outside of game time, it might not be exactly like that, but that's how it is in New England during the games. It's like, well, I might as well just go in the stadium if I'm going to pay $20 for a beer out in these bars anyway. So that's, as a fan, it just seems like meh on doing outside of city stadiums, unless you're going to do a big tailgate situation, in which case it could be really fun. But that's just how I see in city versus out city personally.
I am seeing on an article that the mayor of DC, he's not giving up without a fight. They have a $500 million counter offer to basically improve the Wizards and Capitals arenas and whatnot. So it's definitely a developing story, and it could obviously collapse and they end up not moving at all. But you never know. This new facility slash area, whatever you want to call it, that you were just talking about, it says it's going to be 70 acres. Like that, that's pretty damn big. That's a whole area, lots of shops and stuff. And yeah, so I don't know. I'm kind of with you on what you were saying about that. Last headline here: Otani, Dodgers man, they got Otani. $700 million contract, Spinny. $700 million. What? Huh? This is insane. $70 million a year. And the craziest thing is he's pushing back $68 million of it every year. He's only getting paid $20 million over these next 10 years and getting all of the rest of it for the 10 years following that. That was honestly, I've seen a lot of people kind of question that. This is a man that brings in roughly $50 million a year in endorsements. So he's not really worried about money right now. And also, that money that he's going to be getting 10 years from now, there's a thing in California law where he can move and then not get taxed. So he can go back to Japan or wherever and get all this money, and it won't get the ridiculous sales tax or income tax that California has. Yeah, so it worked out perfectly for him. He's just going to move back to Japan, I'm sure, because in 10 years, I mean, he's 28, 29 years old. He's probably not playing in 10 years from
now. Yep.
So he's going to get basically untaxed income over there once he moves back to Japan.
And think about the different type of money he's going to start making when he starts winning championships.
Right.
You know, like if the amount of money he gave up to allow the Dodgers to sign the other next two guys we're going to talk about, as well as everyone else they're going to target, if it results in World Series championships, then he's going to make his money back purely in that, plus that 10 years extra money.
Yeah. Yamamoto, they signed the other Japanese ace. That was like 300-some million too.
Yep.
And then, yeah, so over $1 billion on two players. And then they made a trade for Tyler Glasnow from the Rays. Completely revamped their pitching rotation. That's going to be a nasty rotation 2 years from now once Otani's back pitching. Because you would imagine he's not pitching next year at all.
No, he's not.
Given he had Tommy John.
Yep.
He's still going to be batting. You'll have Mookie, Fetty, and Shohei. 1, 2, 3. That's quite the top of the lineup. And then all these arms. 2 years from now, you have Otani, Glasnow, Yamamoto. You have Walker Buehler back at some point next year from his Tommy John surgery. You'll have, who else am I forgetting? Dustin May, even though he's always getting hurt. He's still on the team.
He is on the team, but I lose faith with every gigantic injury that he has.
Right. And, yeah, I mean, it definitely helped getting these pitchers in here after what's-his-face did his shit this offseason. He's probably potentially never playing in the MLB ever again. Julio Urias.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, the Dodgers are notorious for choking in October, though, Spinny. So,
I know.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if they do it again?
Yeah, I kind of would. I kind of want Shohei to get a couple rings, though. I got to admit.
I mean, he's got to get some. Yeah. I'm just glad he's not.
I feel bad enough how long he was wasted on the Angels. So
I was gonna say, at least he's not wasting away anymore on the Angels. Yeah. So I'm with you on that. All right, Spinny. I think you maybe have a surprise for me.
Yeah, I do. Right, new segment on Hardheaded Sports. Spinny's sweet shoutouts. Spinny's sweet shoutouts. I'm gonna take about 1 minute every 3 or 4 episodes and shout out some random, wacky, crazy stat that I saw. This was prompted by the person who is going to be the first Spinny sweet shout out. And that's more because I'm embarrassed that I actually didn't know this. So Katie Ledecky, swimmer. She is the 800 meter freestyle is her best event.
Mm-hmm.
All time. Times, right? So there's 100 or a million, whatever it is, all-time top times at that event. She has every single event in the top 30. The top 30 times are all hers. The first person that's not her is the 31st best time in the history of the event. She has every event in the top 30. I saw a on Instagram where Michael Phelps called her the GOAT, and I was like, Michael Phelps is calling her the GOAT? What am I missing? And then I just was looking up some of the craziness, and shout out her for literally being the GOAT. The top 30 at one event. Absolutely crazy, not to mention all the gold medals and everything else she has, but absolutely the crazy stat that prompted Spinny's sweet shout out this week is 30. The top 30 times in the 800-meter freestyle are Kate Ledecky.
That's quite possibly the most absurd thing I have ever heard in my entire life. What? The best 30 times in the history of swimming in that event is her.
Yep. All of them. All of them.
I like it, man. I can't wait to hear more of your shout-outs. Every 3 to 4 episodes? Nah, you should do it almost every episode, man.
Yeah,
I love
whenever I feel motivated or prompted, whenever something sticks out enough to me to bring it on Spinny's sweet shout-outs.
That's a lit segment. I'm glad you brought that up. All right, now we're going to talk about the NBA. Our next 2 little segments here, we're just basically going to, in general, talk about what's been going on in the NBA and in the NFL these last 2 weeks. A ton has been going on. Spinny, I'll bring up one storyline right away, and that's the headline. Joel Embiid, as we know, has been absolutely killing it in December. But I have major issues with this dude. One being that he is the softest and biggest flopper I've ever seen in the history of life. And he's
really the biggest flopper ever. You're for sure saying that.
Yes, I can't think
bigger than Marcus Smart, bigger than I can't even think. Bigger than James Harden.
He gets rewarded every single time. He's bigger than why I say he's the biggest flopper. This dude is 7'2". He should never be falling over. He is 270 pounds. He's bigger than everyone on the court. There is zero reason he should be falling over unless he gets tripped. He should be making other people fall over like Shaq did. What's happening? He leans into him, flails his arms, gets the call. It's the craziest generational whistle I've ever seen in the NBA. This dude
crazier
gets
than James. You're saying it's a crazier whistle than James Harden. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Wow.
Given the size and how dominant he should be, why is he falling over? You can just simply YouTube Joel Embiid flopping highlights and pop like a 10-minute video of him just flopping and getting the most egregious calls you've ever seen in your life. I just can't stand it. I'll give him his respect. He's eating this month, right? Like he's putting up absurd numbers.
Eating and ducking, though.
But
eating and ducking.
Exactly. And ducking. I want you to bring that up. You showed me this. You sent me a tweet earlier. Please bring it up for our listeners.
Yes. I don't have the teams. I just have the records of the teams that Embiid has rested against so far. 23-6, 22-6, 18-12, 17-11, and 17-13. Meanwhile, the last.
And this is all in December, correct? Just this.
No, month? I think this was November and December.
Okay.
This was just December. But then here is the list of these 7 games in December from the 6th to the 18th. He played 7 games in 12 days. These are the list of the teams he played against. Washington, Atlanta, Washington, Detroit, Charlotte, and Chicago.
Like, sweet. You better be putting up 40 a night.
Yeah.
You should put up 40 a night against those teams, especially with your generational whistle. I just can't stand this.
Sitting against multiple good teams, including Boston and Minnesota.
Yes. I just can't stand this guy anymore. He is now taking the crown for my least favorite player in the NBA. I can't believe it took me so long. I hate this dude so much.
Who did he take the crown from?
Draymond Green.
Draymond Green!
Yeah.
Draymond Green's punching people in the face, but the crown is being given up.
As we all know, it used to belong to Rudy Gobert. But now since he's on our team, he can't have that.
Also, Rudy, let's talk about Rudy. Did you think Rudy was going to keep up this level of defensive performance as long as he has?
Yeah, honestly, I really did.
You really did?
Yes, because last year he was my pick for DPOY. Like I envisioned him being able to do stuff like
And
this.
he was terrible.
That's why last year was so frustrating because he was brutal. Like I just didn't know why he had reverted or like gone back. Like yes, he's getting older, but he's still only 30, 31 years old. Like he should still have a couple good years left in him, especially considering all he does is catch lobs and
True.
you know what I'm saying, and rebound. Like there's
Yeah.
not like a brutally amount of wear and tear on his body like a LeBron James or like Kevin Durant. These guys that have the ball the whole court and have to make all these moves and whatnot. Um, so I kind of expected him to bounce back. Maybe not, I guess, to this insanely elite way that he is. I mean, he's looking like a DPOY front runner right now.
Yeah.
So maybe not to that level, but I did anticipate him definitely bouncing back from that terrible season last year.
All right. We like that. All right. I'm gonna jump around here a little bit. Did even you, my big giant hater, did you expect the Celtics to be this good?
Yes, 100%.
Ooh, did you expect Derek White to be this good? That's the
No,
follow-up to
no.
that question.
There. Okay, so last year, right around this time, the Celtics had about this record too. So record-wise, it's about the same. That's why I anticipated them being this good, right? They already were putting up these numbers. Why would adding Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis to your starting lineup make you worse, right? So, yes, they have the same record basically, but they've just looked way better this year. When those five are out there on the court, they're unbeatable. They really are. Um, I have noticed some kind of concerning trends with the Celtics. Obviously, well over half the season remains, so things I'm sure they will figure out. Um, but they still get in their Celtics ways of chucking up too many threes at times instead of just burying them in the by the paint. Like Jason Tatum, for example, like the dude is big. Like he's put on a lot of weight since he came in the league. Like he's got a bully, and you see him do it at times this year. But he's got to bully dudes down low. Like if there's a smaller guy on him, he's got to post him up and take advantage of that. And that's just things that you haven't seen a ton of so far. And like Kristaps Porzingis, he's standing on 3-point line the whole time. So those are little concerning trends to me. I feel like they need more interior presence than. Am I
That's
wrong
fair.
by saying that?
I mean, I think they've done an insanely good job at exploiting the Kristaps matchup this year, multiple times through multiple games.
Right.
Where anytime like smaller guys on him, it's instantly to
They
him,
throw him in there.
turning and
Yeah.
facing and making it like just shooting over him, making an insane percentage on jump shots in the paint or jump shots, whatever you want to call it. He kind of jumps, but you know what I'm saying. I think they've done a great job of that. And I also think Derek White has just been the best point guard that the Celtics have had.
Dude is unreal.
Rajon Rondo? Question mark? I mean, like the way he's just he has taken away the pace problem the Celtics have because he is so good at just dictating it whenever he wants. And then when you're giving Derek White the ball, bringing it up 50 to 60% of the time, then when you're splitting that other 50% between Tatum and Holiday and Brown, you're taking away your biggest weakness and not making Brown dribble. Jaylen Brown, as your fourth most ball handler, is fine. You're loving your life at that aspect. Allows him to score more off the ball. So I just have loved a lot of the things from that perspective that they brought that I didn't necessarily think were going to work out at this level.
Derek White. I definitely did not anticipate
Derek White's an all-star. Get out of my mentions.
He should be. I just don't think he's gonna be.
Probably not, but we're getting it going here on Hard Hitting Sports. Derek White to the All-Star game.
What are they gonna do? Like, God, that is tough because obviously Tatum's in. From there, what are you gonna do? Kristaps been playing so well. Jaylen Brown still having a solid year. Drew Holiday, where would they be without that?
At least two Celtics have to be in.
That's what I'm saying. Like they have they have to have two, but
Yeah.
who are they choosing for the second one? Like there's so many cases for all of them. I would have Derek White be that second one though. That dude is unreal.
I think so at this point.
Over a block per game as a guard.
Yeah.
Almost 50, 40, 90 splits. Like he's an outrageous start to this season. That's for sure. He's so fun to watch.
Absolutely love it. All right, what do you got next?
If we're talking about guards, I'm gonna keep this going here. Jalen Brunson, he's been tearing it up this year. He's starting to establish himself as a premier guard in this league. Spinny, I want to know where you think he ranks among guards. Where do you think? We can verbalize it.
Oh
So
man,
Shy's ahead of him.
Ant's ahead
Curry,
of him.
probably.
Uh,
And
Jaw.
see, I don't know if I'm not convinced on that one.
You're not?
I'm not convinced.
Just because of the
It should be Ja, but
off the court stuff? That's why you're not convinced, or what? 'Cause
no,
on the court, I'm convinced.
I'm not convinced on the court either. Jaylen Brown is just a frickin' or Jalen Brunson is unreal, dude.
Okay.
He gives me like
who was the third one you said?
well, I said Curry and Shy and Ant. You said Ja. We got
Curry, Shy, Ant. I'll take Ja off.
I mean, Ja's in the discussion. Fox, De'Aaron Fox, obviously.
Dame.
Dame. Oh, he's probably. I mean, he's top 10, right?
Is Jaylen Brown a guard?
He's better than Jaylen Brown.
All right.
I'm definitely convinced of that.
I'm not. I'm definitely not convinced of that, even close. But
Jalen Brunson can dribble. He's better than Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, put Jaylen Brown in the next. It'd be similar.
No, it wouldn't.
Yes,
he could not carry a team like Jalen Brunson. No, he could not.
I think he could. I think Jaylen Brown.
No, he can't.
Good.
He can't. No, he can't. He has too many flaws offensively.
All right. Jalen Brunson is balling, though, at a level that I did not see coming. So that shout out to my Nova guy. Best Nova player in? No, he's not better than Kyle Lowry yet, but we're
getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We're getting there. I mean, if Kawhi didn't come over and help lead them to a championship, he might already be ahead of Lowry. Like, no cap. You want to keep going on the guard train?
Sure.
Let's just talk about Ja then. Thoughts on his performance since coming back? Obviously, they're 4-0. He's been playing extremely well. Kind of expected, right? You know, you get suspended for 25 games, you're probably going to come back with a fire under you and ready to go, right? So, I've been impressed, but I can't say I've been surprised. I kind of anticipated him doing stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome to watch. I hope he continues to be as good of a player off the court as he is on the court, and I don't think they have much to worry about. They're in a big deficit right now, 10-19. You know, you have about 40% in the season, and you're 9 games.
That leads up to my second part of the question was: do you think the Grizzlies have any chance of making the playoffs?
Well, let's look at the standings right now. They would need the Warriors are 500 in the 10 seed spot. You think that would probably stick out, or like that'll probably stick around the 500 mark. Couple games better is going to get you in the playoffs. So let's say 43 wins. To get to 43 wins, they would have to go 29, 82, 27, math in my head, 53, and they have to go 33-20 in these last 53 to have a realistic shot of making the playoffs. Is that possible? Is 33-20 possible? Yeah, I think so. I think we've seen from how they've played and performed when Ja's been there the last 2 seasons. I think 33-20 is very possible, and it gets him in the play-in. And then once you're in the play-in, anything can happen. And the Grizzlies have a ton of talent on their team, especially if everyone's healthy and they're ready to go.
I mean, we've seen that main core of Ja and Triple J and Bane win over 50 games numerous times. So I think in a 53-game stretch, they could definitely go 33-20 or whatever it was that you figured out. They should
33-20 would put them at 43-39. I think that probably gets them in. Yeah,
I think it's in the realm of possibility, and this is something I was not expecting. I mean, one of our first NBA updates, I definitely said no shot in hell the Grizzlies are making the playoffs once Ja's back. But if they're going to be looking this good immediately Like there wasn't even like a hesitation or like a couple games getting back in the flow of things. It was balls tipped off. I'm one of the best guards in the entire league again immediately. So
Yep.
when you have a guy like that on your team, you can really make some noise and go anywhere. Honestly,
Agreed.
what do you got for me?
Can the Wolves beat the Thunder?
It's
That's what
tough,
I got for
man.
you. Can the Wolves
That's
beat the
tough.
Thunder?
We're talking in the playoffs, right?
I mean, I'm talking at all, I guess, but I was gonna lead this into some more questions. But can the Wolves beat the Thunder at all?
I
And
think
what's
we
the
can.
recipe?
The recipe is more interior play. I think. Don't get too shot happy. Drive, get in the paint, live in the paint. Right? They have one big guy. They have Chet. Yes, he's going to block a lot of shots, but that's it. They don't have any other big guys down there. You
So
should
get
kill
Chet
them
foul
on the
trouble
glass.
is
Get
your
Chen foul trouble and just attack the rim. Once he's not on the court, you need to be attacking the rim and you need to live in the paint. When you got 2 7-footers starting with and a third being your best bench player and Nas Reed, you should be killing them. You should have, at least plus 10 in the rebound margin. You should be at least plus 10 in the points in the paint battle. These are main categories that you need to kill the Thunder in. And to me, that's the recipe for success against them.
How do we contain SGA?
Just
I can't
send
believe
different.
I honestly really can't believe, and shout out to Sam Presti on this. I cannot believe SGA has gotten to the point where I have to use the word contain when I'm talking about him because I can't even use stopping anymore. He's
There's
beyond the
no
point.
stopping them.
There's
Yeah,
no stopping him. He's beyond that point.
we
Crazy.
correct. We all wondered if he'd be able to continue what he did last year. So far, quarter of the way in the season, he's doing the same thing, averaging 30 on above 50% shooting from a guard. That's unheard of. That is
That's
unheard of.
awesome. That's
He's also averaging
all
3
NBA.
steals a game, 2.8 steals a game for Shy so far. He's an amazing defender too. I mean, what more do you want from this dude? Containing Shy, man. I mean, the best way to do that is you just send different matchups at him. Obviously, mainly being Ant and McDaniels. I think you just kind of rotate those guys guarding them. Ideally, I think you do want more of like a just one guy on him and try to just key in on him all game. But like you said, there's no stopping him, right? So like I don't think there's even a point in saying McDaniels, you're guarding Shy all game because he's gonna get cooked. Let's get some different guys in there, give Shy different looks, force him to attack the defense in different ways based on who's guarding him and make him think. You know, that's what you got to try to do with the elite guys. You got to make them think because everything's so natural for them that they're just doing it. You know what I mean? If you can make them slow down a little bit and think, then you might have a shot. If he has to be able to dissect the defense and determine what he's going to do rather than having it just be natural and in the flow of the game. I mean, that's the only way. These guys are Shy's not. I mean, he's on the list of what 5 to 10 guards in the league that are they're just unguardable, and that's the best way you have to approach playing those type of guys.
I like that too because in the NBA, like it is right now, you're not going to keep one guy on one guy. Like that's just teams are too good to let you do that anyway. So
Right, exactly.
yeah,
All right, I have 2 more things for you that we can run through. Pistons, 27 straight L's, dog. What the hell is this team issue? Obviously, there's a ton of them, right? What is the biggest issue in your mind?
I don't know. I don't know if they're the biggest issue. I think Phoenix might have been right about Monty Williams? Question mark. What? That's what I want to hear you talk about, though. What do you got on Monty Williams and how his impact on this situation?
I would say he is definitely underwhelmed. Like he's not doing what they hired him to do. What they paid him $80 million, didn't they?
Yeah,
Like over the course of 8 years or whatever it was, $80 million. That's an absurd amount of money for a coach. It's a young squad. Like we knew going in, it was going to be tough for him, but he's clearly not doing. He clearly needs to change the way he's prepping these guys for games because it's clearly just not working. So yes, obviously the players need to take a ton of the blame. They're the ones going out there and losing 27 straight games. Monty's not, he's not shooting the ball, passing the ball, whatever. But to me, 27 straight L's, I think that is more of a coaching issue. I just look at their 20s. Who did they play? I can't remember who they just lost to for the 27th straight L. But Cade was absolutely cooking in the second half. He had like 37 points in the second half or something outrageous.
Yep.
Key moment late in the game. There's about 3 to 5 minutes left, somewhere in that range. They're only down 5 points. They're coming out of the timeout. And what does Monty do? He draws up a play for Alec Burks. Like, bro, give Cade Cunningham the ball. He's got 37 points this half. Like that's inexcusable coaching mistake to me. Why would you go away from your best player in a crucial moment in the game where you need a bucket? What happened? Alec Burks didn't get that good of a look. They didn't score. The other team scored. That's like a 4 or 5 point swing right there. All of a sudden they're down 7 now instead of potentially only being down 2 or 3. So I think Monty, he needs to step it up, man, because his ass looking like he could get fired this year, which is unreal to think about.
Unreal. But we need to get better shots as well. If my we is the Pistons, I think shot selection or offense leading to shot selection has a huge part of it. I mean, our top, we're just going to use 8 minutes players for the Pistons this year. Cade, 44 from the field, 33 from 3. Bogdanovich, 46 from the field, 38.5 from 3. Isaiah Stewart, 46 and 39. I'm going to skip Jalen Duren because that's Rudy Gobert, and he takes dunks still at 62. Killian Hayes, 5th most, 42.
That dude's terrible.
Thompson, 6th most, 46. 16 from 3 for Stewart and 30% from 3 for Killian Hayes. Next, Jaden Ivey, 45 and 29. We just can't shoot good percentages at all.
They have no shooters.
No.
You have a coach who's underperforming. You have a very inexperienced roster. You have guards that can't shoot. And then you have all this mismatch of bigs down low. Like, their roster is just terrible.
Alec Burks, 4.7 threes a game, almost 5 threes a game he's shooting 32%. Cade Cunningham, 5.5 threes a game, 33%. So
these are league average at best percentages here.
Ton of bad
they don't even have a single good percentage guy from deep. Everyone's average or worse.
I mean, Bogdanovich is that 38.
Bogdanovich, I guess. Yeah.
Shooting 7.5 threes a game. But he's also shooting 14 field goal attempts. So he's also shooting another 7 field goal attempts from 2. And his overall percentage is 46%, which means his overall
basically missing everything else.
Yeah. Not great.
All right. Last thing I got for you before we'll jump to NFL. Out of these 3 teams, which one are you the most concerned about? Lakers, 16 and 15, Warriors, 15 and 15, or the Suns, who are 14 and 15?
Teams as constructed right now, Warriors. I think they don't have anyone that can score on a consistent basis other than Steph Curry. And I think that's a problem in the playoffs. I haven't seen it from Klay Thompson. Andrew Wiggins hasn't been the same since all that stuff happened to him last year. And obviously, we see where Draymond Green's at right now. Nobody's develops Moody, Kuminga. Kuminga's okay. But I just don't see where they're going to get that extra scoring that they really need. Now, my one caveat to that is the classic rumor we get every mid-season, and that's Kevin Durant is not happy. Which, if that's a situation in Phoenix, obviously without him, that team as constructed is not good, probably. So, or at least not championship contender.
Right. It's like KD, dog. You asked for this. Like, you wanted out of Brooklyn. You wanted to go to Phoenix. You said, trade me to Phoenix. You go to Phoenix. You got their roster. You say, give me some other stars. What happens? Bradley Beal comes in. Now you have no players. Like, this is what you wanted, KD. I just don't get how he can be unhappy. Like, if anyone's going to be unhappy, it should be Devin Booker. It's like, dog, this was my squad. We are already good. We just went to the finals. And you forced your way in here. We had to trade 2 of our best role players, in Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, plus all these picks just to get your dumb ass. And now you think we need Bradley Beal and all these other dudes that don't play, and like they just keep gathering hero ball players. Like I'm really concerned about the Suns. I really am. I think that's going to continue to be a thing throughout this season. I totally agree with your points on the Warriors, but I'm going to give a little edge to the Suns just because of this KD drama. I think it's going to continue throughout the year. Bradley Beal's going to miss a shit ton of games, and they don't have the depth to win games. They just don't. KD and Booker can't put the team on their back over 82 games season consistently. It's just like the teams are just too talented nowadays. And KD's old; he's got to step slower. I would be really concerned about the Suns if I'm a Suns fan. I'm sure they're not happy. I've been seeing some Reddit threads and things from Suns fans, just reading on them just to catch their vibes. And so things aren't going well in Phoenix, that's for sure. So I'd say I'm a little more worried about them.
So, last thing before we move on, quick Clippers 9-2 in December. Seem like they really have figured it out. Can you believe that? And how much credit does Ty Lue get for that?
Ty Lue gets a shit ton of credit. This guy is just kind of solidifying what I've always said is that he's a great coach. He is.
Most of the credit in my head is to Ty Lue.
Most of it's to Ty Lue. For them to figure it out this quickly is very impressive. I thought for sure it'd be like a post All-Star game run that they would go on. Yeah, maybe that. But it definitely seems like they figured it out. They're geared up to be a legit team the rest of the season. Now, do I think it'll hold up? Probably not. I mean, if we're betting on this team in a 7-game series in the playoffs, I'm still not there. We know James Harden is notorious playoff choker. One of the guys, a PG or Kawhi, probably going to get hurt. I'm going to be honest. Russ obviously is not who he used to be. So in the playoff regard, I definitely don't trust them, but they are going to be a legit regular season team. It definitely looks like.
Love that. All right. I think that's it. We discussed enough NBA. If you got anything we didn't discuss, let us know. Also, like and subscribe to this bad boy. Get us some help there. We appreciate you.
NFL, Spinny, what do you got for me? I'll let you start it off.
Wow. Man, I'm gonna start with the Vikes if that's okay with you.
Let's do it.
And I want to look to next year a little bit. Kirk re-signing and Flores bringing back, in my head, are the two keys to next season being successful. What do you think, if those two things were to happen, we could see a actual Super Bowl contending team from Minnesota?
Yeah, 100%. Definitely do. I'm not saying that, or I am saying that lightly. I'm not trying to be a straight homer here and just saying that just because I like the Vikings. I genuinely think we can be a Super Bowl contender. You already saw it this year for glimpses of this season. Once we got rolling a little bit after the terrible start to our season, I mean, we beat the Niners, dude, without Jefferson. Like, we can compete with these guys. And a second year in Flores' system, we've already seen how many guys really make a name for themselves, like Josh Metellus and things like that. I can only imagine what he's going to keep doing for these young guys if he's able to stick around. Now, I am pretty skeptical on that, given how well he's taken our defense this year. I feel like there's going to be teams definitely wanting him to be their HC next year. Kirk Cousins, I think for sure needs to get re-signed. No doubt about it. He proved this year how important he was to our team. There's absolutely no better options out there. If you're just thinking about the elite quarterbacks in the league, they're all locked up already. Like, it's not like we're going to be able to go sign Pat Mahomes or something unreal. So in that regard, we need to sign Kirk. I would like us, though, maybe not necessarily with our first-round pick. We'll see where that lands and who's available at that time. But I would like to see us draft another quarterback. This would be a good time, I think, to draft like a Jaden Daniels or someone who's still kind of a little raw coming out of college and sit them behind Kirk for a year or two. And we can get Kirk's good years while we have it and then transition to the new guy in a couple of years from now.
I agree. A couple points on Flores. We are currently 10th in scoring as a defense in the NFL, 19.9 points per game.
Nice.
With a healthy Kirk Cousins, this offense absolutely obliterates 19.9 points per game. Putting that in perspective, right now, currently on the year, the Vikings are scoring 20.9 points per game. So still positive on the net rating scoring per game. You put Kirk and healthy Hawkinson, Jefferson, Addison, RIP to the ACL of TJ Hawkinson. But mid-season next year, all those guys back healthy, I think our offense is easily in that 23 to 25 points a game range. And if you're around 19 as a defense, that +6, that puts you in the top echelon in the NFL as far as point differential. And that's what you're looking for to win games consistently. And on top of that, all our picks are going to be on defense. We don't need anything on offense. Maybe a guard.
Right.
Maybe
a lineman, yeah.
Yeah, but like our tackles are pretty set. Addison looks like he's going to be a fantastic number 2. And then Osborne is still here another year as your 3. Hawkinson once he comes back, but until then we can mix match at the tight end position. Another first round defensive player to give to Flores. I think it would look very, very, very good.
I guess the consolation for losing Flores would be a 3rd round pick. We'd get that conditional 3rd round if he were to leave for a head coaching job. If he leaves for some reason for a DC, then we would not. But if you were to get that pay upgrade, they would give us a 3rd round pick. For those not familiar with that part of the NFL. The other aspect, though, of why I think we can be a legit Super Bowl contender in that last year. Are we going to have this bad of injury luck next year?
No.
I mean, knock on wood, I hope not. But Kirk Cousins torn Achilles, Cam Akers torn Achilles, Jefferson missed 6, 7, 8 games with his hamstring. Addison just had a high ankle sprain. He's probably going to miss the rest of the season. Hawkinson, he tore his ACL and MCL. Wanham, he tore his quad earlier this year. Jordan Hicks had a leg injury. Brian O'Neill went out. Byron Murphy missed the games. Like
Christian Darrisaw missed the games.
Christian Darrisaw. The list literally goes on and on and on. And honestly, is one of the most worst luck in regards to injuries that I can recall from a Vikings season. Honestly, I mean, those are some of our best players.
I know. A little sad on the Addison news as well, as he is at 826 yards. I thought that 1,000-yard mark would be attainable. Also, Justin Jefferson, 823 yards on the season currently. So still very within realm in 2 games. He would need to average 90 yards a game would get him that 1,000 still this year, even missing as many games as he did.
Bro's going to get 1,000 yards and miss half the season.
Yeah, absolutely incredible from Justin Jefferson. Okay, that's the Vikes. Obviously, to end the Vikes discussion, the last 3 weeks of football have been absolutely atrocious, painstaking, and just shots to the heart every week. Even the Raiders win was the most painstaking, horrible,
the worst thing ever.
Fan watching in performance I've seen in a win.
It was brutal. It's been a brutal stretch for the Vikes. With all of this being said, we are somehow 7-8 and still actually in the hunt for the playoffs. Makes no sense to me. This is, again, goes back to the point of why I think we could be a legit Super Bowl contender. All these things went against us this season. That's just kind of how the NFL goes, though. Last year, we won all these one-score games. You know, luck is a very, very fine balance for luck. You're either going to have a lot of shit going against you or a lot of shit going right for you. When it comes
also,
to
can we see Jaren Hall against the Packers, please?
Please, just throw him in there. Let's get him in there.
I'm tired of Nick Mullins looking like Tom Brady and Jamarcus Russell from play to play, and I don't know which one I'm I've either got Peyton Manning or David Carr. I never know.
Right.
Like either Brock Osweiler or Josh Allen. This is wild changes from play to play from Nick Mullins.
To play. Including like the worst interception I've ever seen in my life 2 weeks ago.
Wild. Some Zach Wilson stuff.
Yeah, seriously. We're kind of talking about some bad things now. I'll go down this route now. What's wrong with the Chiefs, man? What the hell's wrong with this squad? Is it all just simply because they have absolutely no weapons other than Travis Kelce?
I mean, that's definitely a part of it.
Because the defense is elite.
Yeah, and Mahomes is still doing his thing. Obviously, their offensive line rating has not been as good
That's a big part.
as
Yeah.
as in previous years as well. But yeah, they're just not. I mean, they're just not getting it done. How do you lose to a team that has 0 passing yards in quarters 2 through 4?
Makes
0 passing
sense.
yards.
Yeah.
0 passing yards. And we're gonna lose to them.
0.
Patrick Mahomes is gonna lose to a team that has 0 passing yards in quarters 2 through 4.
It's terrible.
I
So how
just
bad is it though, Spinny? Like, are you now removing them from Super Bowl contenders or no, just because Pat
absolutely
Mahomes
not.
is
Absolutely not.
so you're
I
not worried about the Mahomes has never played a road playoff game and all those narratives that are going around?
Not really. I mean, I just don't know how many times he just has to win in the playoffs and win Super Bowls and perform unbelievably unbelievable to give him the benefit of the doubt. So yeah, they need to figure some crap out. And this is definitely the most beatable Chiefs team we've seen so far. We've never seen the Chiefs be this mediocre in late in the season. So that's obviously a concern. But the Chiefs will be a 50-50 game with every single team they will play in the playoffs. So
Correct.
at worst, they are a 50-50 team with every single team they're going to play. So I am not. I'll always. Patrick Mahomes just brings them up to 50%, and the defense in the playoffs, as we've seen, is important. And the top teams in the AFC this year, I don't really trust in the
Kind of
playoffs.
fraudish, yeah.
We're going to trust Lamar in the playoffs. We've seen how that's gone. And Tua. Those are the top two quarter. I mean, you put the Chiefs against both of those teams, I'm probably taking Kansas City. I mean, as much as I picked Baltimore to win the Super Bowl, and that's looking about as good as it could, or get to the Super Bowl, and that's looking about as good as it could look right now, I still in a playoff game, gun to my head, and probably picking Patrick Mahomes.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you. I just have not been buying these narratives because there's been a lot of people writing them off
Oh
after
yeah,
this terrible stretch here.
Patty's one of those guys you don't write off. I'm sorry,
You
he's
don't.
that
You
good.
can't. He is
That
that
good.
good.
He
Yes.
just the write off thing is just out of my vocabulary when it comes to him. Okay, so we kind of talked about this a little bit, but is Lamar Jackson about to win his second MVP?
I mean, I don't think he should, but like
You
he's
don't think
going
he
to.
should?
I don't think he should, but he's going to, right? Like I can't because it's like I'm just trying to think of who else it would be, right? It's because like you're not giving it to Purdy after what we just saw. So like you're gonna go CMC route. Well, we know the QB is gonna get it over the running back. So
Yeah,
it's like
and I
I
mean,
just don't think he's played that well this year as
so
compared to like some of his past seasons.
total touchdowns, turnovers, we got 24 total touchdowns and 12 total turnovers, 7 interceptions among that. 3,300 passing yards and 786 rushing yards, or about 4,000 total yards, 24 total touchdowns, 12 total turnovers for Lamar Jackson.
And like to me, that just doesn't speak MVP to me. Like you're gonna tell me the MVP has less than 30 total touchdowns on the year? Like that doesn't seem right to me at all. Like I don't think a guy with less than 30 touchdowns should win MVP. Like you look back at his second year in the NFL when he did win MVP, he led the league in passing touchdowns at 36.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? He had 1,000
And
rushing
right
yards that
now,
year
he would
too.
be
Like
14th in the league in passing touchdowns, tied with Trevor
that's
Lawrence.
what I'm saying. He just passed Kirk Cousins in passing touchdowns. He just did it. Kirk hasn't played since October.
And I
Like I
don't
don't
think
know.
this
But
is going
like
to happen either. But can you consider Jared Goff in that category? Is Jared Goff going to get
what are
MVP
his
talk?
stats looking like?
Jared Goff,
I mean,
third
he's
in the
based
league
off
in
record, right?
touchdowns, 3,900 yards, completion percentage 67.7, 3,900 yards,
How
27
many turnovers
touchdowns,
he
10
got?
picks. 27 touchdowns, 10 picks.
So like, yeah, that's why I don't get why like because like the narratives and everything going around on social media and with the analysts on TV and everything has been Lamar is definitely the MVP, and I just don't see that. Like you just said Jared
Yeah,
Goff's numbers to me, and those were almost better, right? They
At
basically
least
had the same
equal.
numbers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So you think he's MVP though, don't you?
I mean, I think he probably has the best case right now.
Right.
I'm
I
still
agree
a
with
little
that. I'm
bit
just saying it just
in
seems
the
weird.
Dak Prescott MVP. I know they've looked bad the last couple weeks, and you can't do that at the end of the season and win MVP, but we're talking about
If we're
68%
talking numbers,
complete,
yeah.
3,900 yards, leading the league at 30 touchdowns and 7 picks. QBR is 71, passer rating 104. Team with a 9-10-5 record. But you're not going to win MVP unless you're top of your conference. And they could not get it done against Philadelphia, and that's going to come back to bite them.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, they did get it done the second time against Philadelphia. I'm sorry. I meant they do not look like they're going to win the division over Philadelphia. So Dak is not probably going to win the MVP as the 5 seed.
But his numbers though, like if you were just like blindly telling me numbers and I'm supposed to like pick an MVP just strictly based off numbers, no other context, I would have picked Dak Prescott's stat line over the other two. I would have.
Yeah. And I am actually
so I don't know. It's going to be a tough situation, man. But
I've come around to what you said. I think Christian McCaffrey has to be in that conversation as well, like legitimately, like actually legitimately.
He's going to have over 2,000
almost 1,400 yards, 1,395, 14 rushing touchdowns, as well as 537 receiving yards and 7 receiving touchdowns. So 21 total touchdowns and 1,930 yards on the season so far for Christian McCaffrey. Over 1,900 yards and 21 touchdowns. Like
those are some MVP numbers to me, man.
If I'm CMC, it's like what else? It's just the issue with the MVP award that like what else do I have to do as running back to actually win it? Because like I don't see what else I can do.
And we just saw in that Ravens game that he's clearly their best player.
Yes.
Like he is their most valuable player. So like
definitely.
I don't know. It's been proven to me time and time again this season that CMC is the best player on that 49ers team. If we're gonna go the wins and being at top of your conference and whatnot means a lot to the MVP, then he has that argument too. So that's why I'm still leaning like CMC should be MVP, but I don't really have an argument against Lamar, which sucks because I just genuinely, statistically speaking, I just don't think he should be MVP.
Like that. What do you got for me?
Dolphins. They win what I called the fraud bowl over the Cowboys. Neither of those teams had any good wins. They had a lot of shitty wins, or like versus shitty teams, I mean. Which team of these two, though, do you have more faith in the playoffs? Cowboys or Miami?
Slightly Miami. I will tell you why. I do trust Dak a little bit more than Tua, but big definition on a little bit. We're talking like a 1A, 1B when I'm talking about who I trust more in the playoffs. Just because Dak has been there a little bit more, had a little bit more success. Mike McDaniel is 3 times the coach that Mike McCarthy is. 3 times the coach. I have seen unbelievable things from him this year. The way he coaches, I love it. Obviously, a little biased. He is my favorite coach probably in the league. So a little bit biased on my end. But I trust Miami slightly more given their coach. I do not trust Mike McCarthy in the playoffs. I've seen too many bad decisions from him across his head coaching career.
Yep.
We'll see a little bit more of Miami as well. They play at Baltimore this week and then have Buffalo at home to end the season. So they will end the season Dallas, Baltimore, and Buffalo. So I think these last 2 weeks as well will really tell us who the Dolphins are. Dolphins-Ravens is really a game for the 1 seed as well. Huge 1 seed implications in that game. The 1 and the 2 seed in the AFC. And then Cleveland at 10-5 is third. So Even with a win by Cleveland, whoever is the winner of this game will still be a game ahead of the Browns. So huge number 1 seed implications this week.
Well, that kind of transitions well. You should tell me some more about these AFC seeding scenarios here. So we have Ravens are current 1, Miami's current 2, the Browns are 3, correct?
Yep.
Browns. 4 would be the Chiefs.
4 is the Chiefs.
And then you have what teams in order? Bills are one of the 3, I know.
Yeah,
who are the wild card teams?
Currently, teams in order after that are Cleveland, Buffalo, and Indianapolis.
Well, you said Cleveland already.
Sorry. Cleveland is not a division winner, so that is my fault.
Oh, yeah, duh.
Baltimore, Miami, Kansas City, and Jacksonville are the top 4. Jacksonville right now, obviously is tied with Indy and Houston, so there could be a lot of flipping going on in there. The 5 seed is Cleveland, 6 is Buffalo, and then 7 and 8 are Indy and Houston by tiebreak right now. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, so 7 Indy, 8 Houston. So Indy's in, Houston's out. 1 AFC South team right now via tiebreakers is in. That is Indy. 8 is Houston. 9 is Pittsburgh. 10 is Cincinnati. Those 3 teams are all 8 and 7 out looking in. 7 and 8 teams, we have Vegas and Denver. Both of those teams would need a lot to happen in order to make it in.
And as we saw, the Broncos are basically calling it.
Yes, Broncos are basically calling it. Baltimore wins the 1 seed with a win. So Baltimore win locks it up for them. I'm just going to go team by team here. Miami needs a win and a Buffalo loss to clinch the division, and then that would make their game next week not matter. Kansas City can clinch a playoff berth with a win, and Denver and Vegas both losing. Again, not very likely. Jacksonville needs a win and 2 losses by both those teams. Cleveland, high chance of clinching a playoff berth. They need a win. Okay, AFC tiebreakers. Jacksonville is ahead of Indianapolis and Houston in the AFC South based on head-to-head record. Jacksonville 3-1 to the Colts 1-2 and 1-2. Makes sense?
Yep.
Indy is ahead of Houston in the AFC South based on head-to-head. They are 1-0, but Indy and Houston play in Week 17. So that'll put some interest.
That'll settle that one then. Yep.
As well, especially if Indy wins. Indy is ahead of Pittsburgh because they beat them. Houston is ahead of Pittsburgh because they beat them. Pittsburgh is ahead of Cincinnati because they beat them twice. 2 wins by Pittsburgh, so that really makes it hard for Cincinnati. And Vegas beat Denver, so that's why they are ahead.
So we are, at least likelihood-wise, we are potentially seeing 2 AFC South teams in the playoffs then.
Yes,
that's the most likely scenario.
That is the most likely scenario currently, yes.
Wow.
It would be
that's wild.
Yes. It would be the winner of Indy and Houston in that week.
Week 18.
And because especially Jacksonville has Carolina at Jacksonville, and the Panthers are winless on the road. So it should be a pretty easy locked up win. And then they go to Tennessee when Tennessee is obviously trying to lose games. So good schedule for Jacksonville at the end to win the division.
Comes at a great time, too, for them with Lawrence battling all these random injuries. Ankle
Why is he playing? Why is he playing?
Why is he playing through it? Stop playing, dude.
I get it, but why are we clearing him?
He can't play. He should not play against Carolina.
He shouldn't have played at all.
He shouldn't have been played. Yes.
And I get it. You have to be held responsible for every game you play in the NFL, but this guy is obviously hurt right now.
Yeah.
It's just I don't get it from him, but
it just keeps piling on.
That's the type of guy he is, and I guess you have to respect it on some level.
Right. NFC though. Let's run through that and then we'll give our picks.
NFC, San Fran, Philly. San Fran 1, Philly 2, Detroit 3, Tampa Bay is 4. Dallas 5.
We got a good race there for the 1 seed.
Yep, all 3 of those teams are 11-4. Dallas 10-5 in 5th. Right now, the Rams and Seattle at 8-7 are the 2 playoff teams in.
3 NFC West teams. Huh.
Yep. And then you have Minnesota, Atlanta.
Who leads the South right now? The Bucks?
The Bucks.
Okay.
Minnesota, Atlanta, Green Bay, and New Orleans all tied at 7 and 8. Tiebreaker.
We're technically the 8 seed right now.
Yes, tiebreaker wise, San Fran is ahead of Philly and Detroit based on conference record. Niners 9-1, and Lions and Eagles both 7-3. So as long as
so 1 seed's in the Niners' hands.
The 1 seed is in the Niners' hands. They control their own destiny on that as well. They will basically have the tiebreaker owned because even if they lose these 2 NFC games, they still would have the same record in conference. They also play the Commanders. Should be a very easy win. And that pretty much would almost lock it up. Obviously, they would really need to maintain the same record as Detroit and Philly. So they're ahead on that. Philly is ahead of Detroit based on strength of victory numbers. The Rams are ahead of Seattle because they 2-0'd them this year. 2 wins by the Rams. Minnesota is ahead of Green Bay on the 1-0 matchup so far. We obviously play them this week, so that could change. And we are we are ahead of Atlanta based on we beat them as well. Atlanta beat New Orleans, but they play again, and Atlanta beat Green Bay, so they're ahead of them. The only reason Green Bay is ahead of New Orleans is Green Bay beat them. So it's going to be very hard for Green Bay and New Orleans to get in. The Vikings have the best shot of the 7 and 8 teams, and then Atlanta after that.
Okay. Yeah, so more of Saints and Atlanta, I feel like, are more hoping for the division title still at this point. They're only still only a game back, or is it 2?
Yep.
1? Okay.
Yep.
Lots about to shake out here in these last 2 weeks in both of these conferences. A lot of teams still battling for a playoff spot, especially in that AFC, that crowded AFC.
Also, an odds chance that Tampa could lose the division and make the playoffs as well because they potentially would have the tiebreaker.
Well, they beat us, so
over the Rams or Seattle as well. So,
right, interesting.
A lot that could happen in the NFC. Very wide open, more than the AFC. AFC is still kind of wide open, but more high likelihoods of certain teams making it in.
It's going to be a wild finish to the NFL. That's for sure.
Is.
Always is.
Let's get to our picks, Bus. Get the Hardys and
all right, our picks, man. We're going to pick the New Year's 6 bowl games. For those that don't follow college football, that is just simply your most famous bowl games, your 6 most famous ones. The 6th one being the national title game, by the way. So let's start on Friday. First one comes in on Friday night, 7 p.m. We got number 9 Missouri facing number 7 Ohio State, who is a 3-point favorite. This one's really tough for me.
Go Tigers! For me,
I think I got to go Missouri. Yeah, I think I got to go Mizzou.
Yeah.
I know Ohio State's had a lot of people already opt out and enter the transfer portal. Kyle McCord, their starting QB, being one of them. So I think Ohio State's a little decimated in that regard. So I'm gonna take Mizzou in that matchup. Saturday in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, we got number 11 Ole Miss versus number 10 Penn State. Here, I'm going to go back to the Big Ten, though. I'm going to take Penn State in this one.
Yeah, I would take Penn State as well. I think they're a slightly better team.
Yeah, I like their defense more. Ole Miss's defense, not very good. Offense, obviously, very elite. Also on Saturday, 3 p.m. game, we have Georgia, number 6, facing number 5, Florida State, your national champion, according to many teams. I'm just messing around. 19-point favorites for Georgia. Spinny. I'm rocking Jordan in this one. 20-plus players already opted out for Florida State, including their Keon Coleman, best offensive player, their starting running back, and their starting quarterback, who took over for Jordan Travis. So they're now in their third-string quarterback. I don't think that's a recipe for success against the elite Georgia defense.
Yep. So yeah, we're gonna take Georgia. Just like you said, more talent, especially with all the opt-outs.
On to Saturday. Oh, that was the last game Saturday. Sorry, Monday, New Year's Day. We got the Fiesta Bowl. Number 23 Liberty, who is 13-0, faces number 8 Oregon, 11-2, 16.5-point favorites for Oregon. You know what, man? I'm gonna cheer against your guy, Bo Nix, one more time for his college career. Let's go, Liberty! 14-0. They get to hang the banner of national champions since they went 14-0. Come on.
One more time, my man Bo Nix is gonna break your heart. He is playing in this game. Announced it at the Heisman Trophy conference on Friday night that he will play. Did not want the Pac-12 championship to be his last game. So shout out to Bo. And Bo's about to show Liberty that they're not anywhere close to the national champions.
Self-proclaimed, man. They're about to be 14-0.
Bo Nix.
All right. Semi-final, the Rose Bowl. Number 4, Alabama versus number 1, Michigan. Here's the thing, man. This is the toughest matchup for Michigan in the country. They're the only team I think that can match them, match their physicality, right? So that's why I think there's actually going to be a tough battle for Michigan. Obviously, I'm going to be the quote-unquote homer here and take Bama. But that's why
bandwagoner and take Bama. You're right.
Right, the bandwagoner. But that's why I do genuinely think Bama actually has a legit chance in this game because they can actually match their physicality and hopefully can slow down that Russian attack.
I mean, it's the reason they were in this game instead of Florida State. So I really agree with you. I think it's going to be a good one, but I'm going to take the Wolverines.
I'm just banking on another Michigan choke in the playoffs like last year.
Nah, we have faith in Jim this time. Let's go, baby.
All right. The other one, the Sugar Bowl, 7:45 p.m. on the 1st. We got number 3 Texas facing number 2, 13-0 Washington. I'm kind of getting vibes from this one of last year's 2 and 3 matchup, right? Or was it the one for Michigan TCU? That's the kind of vibes I'm getting here. I feel like a lot of people are like, nah, this is Texas winning this. No doubt about this. There's no way Washington can win this game. That's the same type of vibe I got last year too. I'm going to take Washington. I really am.
I'm taking Washington too.
Okay.
I like Penix. I don't like cheering for Texas, so that's part of this take. I'd much rather cheer for the Washington Huskies. So we're gonna go Michigan, Washington in the Natty.
And then you're taking Michigan?
Yeah, the Wolverines get it done. Jim Harbaugh finally gets it done, brings the once great Michigan Wolverines back to glory.
And you already know what that means for me.
You think Nick Saban gets another one, huh?
I've been doing this, man.
Of all years, you think he steals one?
I've been saying it. You guys didn't believe me. How long ago was I saying Bama's going to win the SEC championship? All you guys thought it was over when they lost week 2 to Texas, who's in this Final Four. Everyone thought that was bad loss. They lost to Texas at home. They're a top 4 team in the country. I don't think that's that bad of a loss. I've been telling y'all all season they were going to do this. They did it. They're going to keep doing it. People are still somehow sleeping on it.
The only way that Bama wins the Natty is if they somehow pull this upset off and if Texas wins. Because if Texas wins, Saban ain't losing twice to the same team in the season. I can almost
really
that one.
I'm more worried about Texas.
Are you?
Washington. Yeah. I think they'll just be able to dominate them at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. Bama versus Washington. I think Texas is a little more physical, be able to handle them a little better. But that's why I wanted. That's also why I picked Washington, just because I know that was a better matchup for Alabama. What are you going to do if they win, man? What are they going to do?
They're not going to win. They're not going to win.
We'll see.
Not.
All right, on to week 17. Spinny took the lead on me, man. Last time we picked was week 14. We missed, obviously, 15 and 16 these last 2 weeks. You're up 1 game on me. 113 wins to 112. So with that being said, let's start with Thursday night's game. We got the Jets visiting the Browns. I'm taking the Browns elite defense at home.
Browns. Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco show, baby.
Joe Flacco. Credit to that man. Three straight 3 bill games for Joe.
He has been dogging, dude.
Wild.
Amari Cooper was absurd.
Yeah.
Ooh. Sent my ass home in 2 different fantasy leagues.
That's tough.
That's tough. Saturday's only game. We got the Lions playing the Cowboys. This is a good one here. Just given how well the Cowboys play at home, that's why I'm going to go the Cowboys in this game.
Yeah, Dallas doesn't lose at home, so we're gonna go with Dallas as well.
Sunday matchup of the year? ? Battle for the AFC 1 seed. 11-4 Dolphins play the 12-3 Ravens, who are 3.5-point favorites at home. I mean, after I just saw them absolutely dismantle the 49ers on the road, I have to take the Ravens in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Ravens at home. I can't believe this game didn't get flexed to Sunday night.
Right. Isn't the Vikes Sunday night?
The Vikes Packers is Sunday night, yeah.
I don't know how it did not.
Surprised about that one.
Yeah, same. This is such a trap game here. Patriots at the Bills, 12-point favorites for the Bills. As we know, the Bills can beat any single team in the league if they're actually good, but they apparently can't beat teams under 500. So that's why I'm saying it's a trap game. But with that being said, I got to take the Bills. They've just been looking too good this last couple
How many points are you going to give me to take the Patriots?
You got to take them. You just got to take them.
No.
The spread is 12. I'm not giving you
4-11.
That's a ridiculous spread, 12. That's
an
unreal spread.
Like, can I get 6?
Fine, I'll give you 6.
All right, 6.
Bills got to win by at least a touchdown.
Yep.
Let me write that. Pats plus 6. Okay. Falcons at Bears. This is tough. I'm gonna go Falcons. They're the ones still fighting for something here. Not that the Bears aren't necessarily quote unquote motivated to win games, but I think the playoff aspect for the Falcons is a little more. So I'm gonna take the road Falcons in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Falcons as well just because Jacoby Brissett's starting this week. They announced today, so I think that'll give them a jolt heading into this game. They might win.
I did not see that. Raiders at Colts. 3.5-point favorites for the home Colts. Man, I can't figure out these Colts, man. They're like playing so well, and then last week they just take a giant shit. It's like, what's going on here? I don't know. I don't really want to pick a Aiden O'Connell-led team, so I'm going to go Colts.
Colts.
Panthers at Jags. Even
Jags.
though T-Law, I'm going Jags for sure. At least, hopefully, no T-Law. Let this man just sit on the bench.
Literally.
Trevor, you can miss a game, man. You haven't missed one game.
It's okay.
Entire career, dating back to when you were 16 years old. Just miss one game.
It's fine.
Titans versus Texans. Again, I'm just going to go with the team that has more to play for. Texans.
Houston. Now, you know what? I'm going to take Tennessee in this game. I think Mike Vrabel will pull something out of his hat and gets a little upset here.
A lot of my Texans pick here hinges on C.J. Stroud if he's able to return from his 2-game absence. Rams visiting the Giants. Rams have looked really good as of late. I think they keep that rolling. Yep. Cardinals at Eagles. Eagles, right?
Eagles.
Sorry, Cards. You guys want a top 2 pick. You're not winning this game. Saints at Bucks. Huge NFC South matchup here. Huge. You know what? I absolutely hate the Saints, so I'm going Baker.
Oh, come on. You got to go with the Saints.
No. That's your guy. You're the Derek Carr.
My guy, Baker Mayfield, you mean? The guy that I picked last week, and it turned out great for me. He's going to ball out again. Let's go, Baker, baby. Come on.
Derek Carr is your man. You should be picking the Raiders.
I don't remember Derek Carr being my man at all. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Whatever, dude. 49ers, Commanders. We know. That one's obvious. Niners. Sorry, Sam Howell. Your magical run is over. Steelers at Seahawks, another crucial matchup here for both teams.
You gonna pick Mason Rudolph?
Fuck no. I'm going the Seahawks. That 12th man's a real thing up there.
I was picking the home team in this game, so I'm going with Seattle.
Chiefs are home versus the Bengals.
Patty figures it out. He's not losing to Jake Browning.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jake Browning finally came back to earth this past week, and I think his downward trend will continue in this one. So I'm going to go Chiefs. Chargers at Broncos, who apparently aren't mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, but are calling it a season, I guess, by benching Russell Wilson for the last 2 games of the year. I don't know what to make of this game at all. I really don't. I mean, I don't obviously trust the Chargers literally at all because they're terrible. They're a brutally bad team. I'm going to go Broncos, I guess.
Jarrett Stidham, baby. Jarrett Stidham about to win this game for the Coes. I can't believe they're benching Russ, and we didn't bring this up during the NFL segment, so I'm going to do it right now. Talk of cutting Russell Wilson, $85 million dead cap hit. Wow.
Is it really like it's gotten to that point? Like I don't know. I feel like you got to tough it out another year.
Seemed like all the locker room talk with Russ was true.
Yeah.
And because 26 touchdowns, 8 picks, 3,000 yards. He is 18th in passing yards. But part of that can be attributed to the offense. He's 6th in passing touchdowns. So I'm a little surprised by that.
Last game of the week, Sunday Night Football. There is no Monday Night Football game this week. Packers, Vikings, both 7-8. Team that loses this game is for sure out of the playoffs. I'm going to go us since we're the home team. This seems definitely a Minnesota win we'll get when we don't want to win anymore. The fans have called it. We don't want to see any more wins, but Hawkinson tore his ACL, all this stuff that points to us losing this game. We haven't even announced a freaking QB yet for this game.
Hawkinson and Addison, DJ Waddle went on IR as well, so he's gone.
All this stuff points to us losing, but we're going to win because of that.
Agreed. Vikes. This is exactly a Vikes trap game win. A game
that's what I'm saying. It is
pointless, but we'll just somehow
we're winning
anyway because we don't want to. Classic.
Yep, exactly. Classic Vikings.
Well, Hardies and Hardos, sorry for the longer episode this week, but we had to catch you up for the last 2 weeks. You've been gone, sunning and shining in a surprisingly cold and rainy Florida, at least when I was there. So
same.
That was tough. But you got Q&A, or are we going to send them out of here?
I'll send them out of here, man. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Episode 84, the Randy Moss episode. We finally got there.
Hug your friends and family, and we love you.
All right, y'all.